You think walking transforms your body, but the most dramatic change begins inside your silent brain. This organ consumes enormous energy, yet it responds instantly to the simplest motion you make. Here is the twist. The first place awakened by your steps is not your muscles at all. Your hippocampus, guardian of memory and spatial navigation, senses movement before your heart does. Each stride sends mechanical ripples upward, announcing that your body has begun exploring again. Blood flow increases toward this ancient structure, carrying oxygen like a cool tide washing inland. This surge is not accidental. It is your brain preparing for another round of internal remodeling. You once learned the adult brain stops growing, but modern neuroscience quietly overturned that belief.
As you see
Harvard
in this
researchers
graph,
demonstrated
a
that
neuroscientist can get their point
neuroplasticity
across,
continues far
even
into
with
adulthood
limited
when
resources.
movement becomes consistent. Yet
Biological
walking
advantage
introduces an
activated.
unexpected biological advantage few people ever notice consciously. As your calf muscles contract rhythmically, they release molecular messengers that travel straight to your brain. Among them is BDNF, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, often called the miracle grow of neurons. BDNF encourages newborn brain cells to survive, mature, and form stable synaptic networks faster. As levels rise, memory circuits strengthen, learning improves, and cognitive aging begins slowing quietly. This is where the paradox emerges. Walking elevates BDNF without generating harmful oxidative stress. High-intensity workouts can overload tissues with free radicals, disrupting delicate neuronal environments significantly. Walking, in contrast, stimulates circulation gently, avoiding metabolic storms that overwhelm aging nerve cells. This creates the ideal internal climate for neurogenesis to thrive naturally throughout your lifetime. The long-term evidence becomes even clearer when researchers measure structural brain changes. A University of Pittsburgh study followed adults walking 40 minutes 3 times weekly for 1 year. Their hippocampus grew by 2%, effectively reversing age-related shrinkage that weakens memory. Sedentary adults, meanwhile, lost nearly 1.4%, a measurable decline in neural integrity. This may sound small, but inside the brain, it represents thousands of preserved neuronal connections. Each walk becomes a quiet investment in mental resilience, not just in physical well-being. Now the real question forms. If walking can regrow part of your brain, what else can it reshape? What happens when this rising blood flow reaches your arteries, your heart, and your vascular chemistry? The next transformation unfolds below the neck, and it is far more profound than most expect. When increased blood flow leaves your brain, it rushes toward the one system holding your survival. Your cardiovascular network, stretching thousands of miles, responds instantly to every subtle change in movement. Here is the surprising truth. Walking does not just strengthen your heart, it reshapes your blood chemistry. With each step, blood pushes against your vessel walls, creating a gentle friction called shear stress. This friction is not harmful. It is a biological signal your endothelium has been waiting for. Endothelial cells respond by releasing nitric oxide, the body's most powerful natural vasodilator known. Nitric oxide relaxes vessel walls, widens arteries, and allows blood to glide with remarkable ease. This effect happens within minutes, lowering blood pressure without medication or aggressive physical effort. It is the vascular equivalent of opening a congested highway after years of silent traffic. But the twist is deeper. Nitric oxide also prevents clot formation and reduces inflammatory signals significantly. Researchers from the American Heart Association found walking rivals running in reducing heart failure risk. The key is energy expenditure, not intensity, making walking safer for aging joints and arteries. As your vessels widen, another transformation begins inside the microscopic branches of your vascular tree. Your body starts forming new capillaries, a process called angiogenesis, triggered quietly by repeated walking. These new vessels reduce pressure on your heart by improving oxygen delivery to working muscles. Think of it as constructing emergency side roads that prevent traffic jams during metabolic rush hours. This is why consistent walkers often experience improved endurance without ever training like athletes. Walking also stabilizes cortisol levels, avoiding the hormonal spikes caused by high-intensity exercise. By keeping cortisol lower, your vessels avoid chronic inflammatory stress that accelerates arterial stiffening. But perhaps the most overlooked change occurs inside your mitochondria, the power plants of cells. Walking places you in Zone 2 cardio, the range that optimizes mitochondrial efficiency profoundly. Zone 2 boosts fat oxidation, reduces lactate accumulation, and enhances cardiac metabolic flexibility significantly. It is gentle enough to sustain for long periods, yet powerful enough to remodel your physiology. This is the paradox. Slow movement upgrades energy systems faster than many fast movements ever could. Every step becomes a whisper to your cells, telling them to work cleaner, smoother, and longer. Yet beneath this growing efficiency lies a deeper biochemical puzzle involving glucose and insulin. If your vessels improve this dramatically, what do your muscles do with the sugar flowing inside? To answer that, we must explore a mechanism so powerful it rivals diabetes medication in effect. Before we continue, if you've been enjoying this video so far, leave a comment with 1 so I know this content is valuable to you, and so we can keep creating meaningful videos that you won't want to miss. While your blood vessels widen and oxygen flows freely, another battle unfolds silently inside your muscles. This battle determines whether sugar becomes fuel or slowly turns into metabolic damage over time. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people do not lack glucose, they lack the ability to use it. Insulin, the hormone meant to escort glucose into cells, becomes less effective when resistance develops. When this happens, glucose lingers in the bloodstream, quietly raising inflammation and accelerating aging. But walking introduces a loophole in this broken system, a biological backdoor your muscles still trust. Each step triggers rhythmic contractions that activate a transporter called GLUT4 without needing insulin. GLUT4 migrates to the muscle cell surface and pulls glucose inside like a silent rescue team. This pathway bypasses insulin entirely, offering a second chance for those with impaired metabolic function. Researchers describe this as non-insulin-mediated glucose uptake, a life-saving adaptation during consistent walking. A study in diabetes care showed 15-minute post-meal walks controlled glucose better than longer sessions. This finding surprises many, yet it highlights how timing manipulates metabolism as powerfully as duration. Walking right after eating prevents glucose spikes, reducing oxidative stress that damages vessels and nerves. But the twist grows deeper. Muscles become metabolic sponges once GLUT4 is activated repeatedly. They draw in glucose for hours, stabilizing your blood sugar long after the walk ends. This is why people who walk daily often report fewer cravings and steadier afternoon energy. Inside each muscle fiber, mitochondria respond to this steady glucose flow by increasing their efficiency. They burn sugar cleaner, produce fewer free radicals, and reduce metabolic waste. C. At T, this dual fuel flexibility, called metabolic switching, becomes easier the more consistently you walk. It is the hidden reason walking reverses insulin resistance faster than M. Yet a deeper paradox remains. Sitting still for just 60 minutes turns this entire system of. When you sit too long, a gene called lipoprotein, lipase, becomes sup. This decreases fat breakdown by nearly 90%, weakening your metabolic. Standing and walking for even 2 minutes reactivates this gene and restarts lipid processing to. Your metabolism is not slow by nature. It is slow because modern life keeps it immobilized. But when you walk, you realign your biology with its ancient design for constant movement. And once glucose is controlled, Something even more remarkable begins within your immune system. A system without a pump suddenly depends entirely on your steps to stay alive and functional. Once glucose stability returns, your body shifts attention to a system operating quietly in the background. This system carries immune soldiers, removes cellular waste, and regulates inflammation without any internal pump. Here's the twist: your lymphatic network depends entirely on movement to stay alive and functional. Unlike blood, lymph cannot rely on a heartbeat. It waits patiently for your steps to begin. Every stride triggers mechanical pressure that pushes lymph upward through narrow vessels and deep channels. Your calf muscles act like organic pistons, squeezing fluid upward with each controlled contraction. This is why physiologists call the soleus muscle the body's second heart in daily movement. Its rhythmic compression prevents lymph stagnation, a key driver of swelling, fatigue, and chronic inflammation. Without walking, lymph moves sluggishly, allowing toxins to linger and immune responses to weaken. Walking transforms this passive network into a dynamic cleansing system operating beneath your skin. It transports pathogens toward lymph nodes, where immune cells perform microscopic inspection and defense. Inside these nodes, B cells and T cells neutralize threats with remarkable precision and speed. This cellular choreography intensifies when lymph flows faster, creating a more vigilant immune patrol. A study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine demonstrated this effect clearly and convincingly. People who walked 5 days weekly experienced 43% fewer days of respiratory illness. The benefit did not come from medication, supplements, or restrictive diets, but simple mechanical motion. Movement awakens immune circuits that cannot activate fully during prolonged sitting or physical stagnation. As lymph circulation improves, inflammation markers gradually decrease throughout the muscular and connective tissues. This is why many walkers report lighter legs, reduced swelling, and more comfortable joint mobility. Walking also improves venous return, reducing pressure that contributes to fluid buildup in extremities. But the deeper shift occurs at the level of interstitial spaces between your body's trillions of cells. These microscopic gaps store metabolic waste, damaged proteins, and inflammatory byproducts from daily life. Lymphatic flow is the only mechanism capable of clearing these residues efficiently and continuously. Walking, therefore, becomes the foundational mechanical requirement for cellular cleanup across your entire physiology. It is not optional wellness. It is the hidden survival mechanism written into human evolution. Your immune resilience depends on this motion more than most people realize consciously. But even as your immune system strengthens, another transformation is quietly unfolding beneath the surface. Walking begins influencing not just fluid balance or metabolic waste, but the biology of aging itself. Your chromosomes respond to repetition, rhythm, and movement in ways few expect until they see the science. Telomeres, the protective caps of your DNA, adjust their behavior according to your daily steps. As your immune system strengthens, the most surprising transformation begins deeper than any organ or vessel. It unfolds inside the nucleus of your cells, where your genetic code interprets every step you take. Here is the unexpected truth. Walking can influence how your chromosomes age over time. At the end of each chromosome lie telomeres, protective caps, preventing genetic material from unraveling. Every cell division shortens these caps slightly, bringing each cell closer to senescence and decline. This shortening is one of the most reliable indicators of biological aging discovered by scientists. But walking introduces a twist that challenges the inevitability of this gradual genetic erosion. Regular movement activates enzymes called telomerase, which help maintain and repair telomere length. This shift does not reverse aging completely, but it slows the biological clock meaningfully. A groundbreaking study from the University of Leicester demonstrated this effect at population scale. Researchers analyzed over 400,000 adults and found brisk walkers had significantly longer telomeres. The difference equated to roughly 16 years younger in biological age compared to slow walkers. This was not a minor statistical variation. It was a measurable signature of healthier aging. Walking acts like a biological message, telling your cells the environment is stable and supportive. In evolutionary terms, a body in motion signals resilience, prompting cells to invest in longevity. Meanwhile, reduced inflammation from improved lymphatic flow further protects telomere structure from oxidative stress. This combination creates a cellular environment where aging slows rather than accelerates unchecked. Yet another layer of the paradox emerges when comparing walking with intense physical training. Overtraining elevates cortisol and free radicals, harming DNA and accelerating telomere shortening significantly. Walking, however, stays within the sweet spot, providing stimulus without overwhelming cellular defenses. It is gentle enough to protect genetic material, yet powerful enough to trigger molecular repair. As telomerase activity rises, damaged DNA segments receive more consistent maintenance and stabilization. This contributes to better mitochondrial function, improved cellular energy, and greater metabolic flexibility. These genetic benefits accumulate quietly, noticeable only across months and years of consistent movement. Your biological age begins diverging from your chronological age, favoring slower internal decline. But the story does not end with chromosomes or cellular repair alone, because once telomerase has done its work, your physiology starts asking an important question. How much walking is enough to sustain these changes without slipping into diminishing returns? And that answer, surprisingly, has nothing to do with the famous 10,000-step rule. By now, your brain, heart, metabolism, immunity, and DNA have responded to every step you take. But the final question remains, how much walking is enough to activate these transformations reliably? Most people cling to one number, 10,000 steps, believing it carries scientific authority and precision. Here is the twist. That number did not come from research, but from a marketing campaign in 1964. A Japanese pedometer named Manpoke translated to 10,000 steps meter, and the myth was born. The real science, however, paints a far more nuanced and liberating picture for your daily routine. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine examined long-term mortality risk and daily step counts carefully. Researchers found health benefits plateaued around 7,000 to 8,000 steps, not 10,000. Beyond that threshold, improvements in longevity increased only slightly, and with diminishing marginal returns. This means walking does not demand excess. It demands consistency, timed to your biology's rhythm. To activate metabolic flexibility, aim for a cadence of at least 100 steps per minute. This pace places your body in the ideal cardiovascular zone, without overwhelming hormonal balance unnecessarily. Walking slower still benefits the lymphatic system, but brisk walking maximizes mitochondrial and endothelial gains. Your timing matters even more than your total distance, or your total steps per day. A 10 to 15-minute walk after meals significantly reduces glucose spikes and insulin load. This effect occurs because GLUT4 transporters activate independently of insulin during post-meal walking. This single habit can outperform longer morning walks in stabilizing blood sugar across 24 hours. Terrain also influences adaptation, with inclines engaging posterior chain muscles and improving knee stability progressively. Walking backward, supported by evidence from strength rehabilitation programs, strengthens knee tendons safely and effectively. But the deeper truth is simpler. Walking should mold itself around your life, not the reverse. Your biology prefers rhythm, repetition, and moderate strain delivered with patience over extreme effort. You do not need marathons, speed, or punishment. You need patterns your ancient physiology recognizes. Humans evolved as persistent movers, relying on steady motion rather than intense, sporadic bursts of activity. When you walk daily, you honor that blueprint and restore a rhythm modern life has stolen. Your genes, mitochondria, neurons, and immune cells all respond as if remembering something familiar. They recognize walking not as exercise, but as the native state the human body was designed for. This is why every step carries influence beyond calories, shaping systems that cannot speak but always respond. So yes, walking is not optional wellness. It is a biological necessity hidden in plain sight. It is the movement that resets your brain, calms your chemistry, and extends your healthy lifespan subtly. Hope this video was valuable to you, and see you in the next one.